Frozen Music is a video series from ABB presenting unique building projects and the architects behind them to a global community. Follow us around the world.
Welcome back. We're now going to hear about the winner of the experimental category in future projects, which often gives rise to some of the most exciting and challenging ideas. And it's called SAWA. And to tell us about it are the architects, May Architects and Planners. So please start the presentation.
Thank you for presenting our proposal for a building, which is actually going to be built. SAWA is called the building, and we all know about the problems we have nowadays. And for us, maybe it's not so important, but for the children who have to live the next 100 years, they have to cope with these problems. And as an architect, you can't do so much about it. You want to solve things with buildings and designs. But it's difficult to get in power, while we are very interested in the environment, the people, and nature. So what you actually said, we want to become the client. And if we are the client, then we can change these things and we can focus on the shared values instead of shareholder values. We kept the profit of the project to 3%, and we calculated the project, and we designed it and calculated it. And these things you can see are the most important shared values we want to introduce in this building. So as an architect, I became a developer, and we also have to do for the investor 5 years property management. And that's good for us because we like to be involved and take responsibility. And that's the most important thing, because when you take responsibility, you can act. The core values of SAWA are community and context, carbon dioxide, inclusion, energy neutral, biodiversity, shared economics, and inclusive, affordable rents, and health. SAWA is in the city of Rotterdam, near the city center, towards the water, the Maas, which is a big river, and it's the biggest port in Europe at the moment, Rotterdam. In former times, ships went to Indonesia and back. That's why we refer to the name SAWA, because of the terraces of rice, but not only in Indonesia, but Southeast Asia. And that's the name SAWA comes from, because there are a lot of green terraces in this building. And these green terraces are connected with a garden of vegetables and fruit in the common ground. And we connected it with our terrace, which is also a vegetable garden. The timber construction, it's about, I think, I'd say, let's see, nearly 3,000 ton of CO2 is contained into the building. And what you actually do is not making concrete floors on the wood. That's very important because the building is demountable. It's so the lifespan of wood can be enlarged. This is the construction. And this is the construction. We work with posts and beams, and in between there are slabs of wood. And that means, and on the floor we don't pour any concrete, but we use pebbles. We use pebbles as a load for roofs. And so you can take the pebbles away, and then you have the wood and everything clear as a raw material. Due to the way we got no load-bearing walls, so it's an open building construction, so you can join in time or make homes smaller or bigger. This is the construction, more or less. We got also consoles sticking out of the same wood. It's CLT. It's the cross-laminated timber. An open building, you can change in time your floor plans, and that's important also for the lifespan of buildings. We introduced, which is a part of the building, it's owned by the owners of the building, planters. We got nearly 1 kilometer of planters, which were designed and thought by ecologists, botanists, and biologists. We got also next boxes, 140 next boxes of for birds, all kinds of birds. We also got the common repair room for shared use, where people can lend drills and those things. And not everybody needs to have a drill. It's also important. And also there's a shared car system. It's called Redrive Solar, where the solar energy which the building makes is stored into the electric cars. And also electric bikes, 10 electric bikes are there. But the most important thing, there's also 50% affordable rent. And that's what we want to do, because you can see what we have seen, that a lot of rather rich, white-ish old people like me, more or less not rich, but they like to live in these buildings because there is not a project like this. But we wanted also to make it possible for people who have less money. And affordable rent is about 700 to 1,000 euros a month. It's protected rent. There's a lot of balconies inside the project. We got a lot of terraces and balconies, and that's the best for your health, to stay outside and to enjoy sun when there's sun. It's about 40 square meters average of outside space to every apartment. You can see the balconies here, the planters go up, as we told before. There's a big hole in the building, which is actually caused by view rights of the building on the left. There's the regional broadcast company of Rotterdam, and they want to have a view towards the water. So the hole was defined by a law, actually. You can see a square in front of it, and there's a bar or a restaurant downstairs. We are looking for a vegetarian restaurant to be there inside the building. You can see the terrace of the deck, actually. Underneath the deck, the cars are parked and the bicycles. But also you can see the vegetable garden that people can join. Let's do this. Oh, what's this? And you can see again, there are apartments located on the deck. People can join and stay together. From the inside, the buildings, the wooden construction is protected by sprinkler insulation, so you can use and see a lot of wood. So the beams, the posts, and the ceilings are of wood, of the CLT. Beautiful views towards the seaside of Rotterdam, and you can see in the sunset is also very nice. In November, well, 2 years ago, we launched the idea of SAWA. We went to the community. They said it's a good idea. It's an experiment, and in 2 years we established to make the whole deal round. It was very difficult because we did it by screens. We see here. We did a lot of innovation, but it worked out, and we could do it. And now in the building permit will be granted in several days, and we start building in April. So we succeeded in making this business case round. We had a very large innovation project, which was process. We had a lot of people around, like the ETH Zurich, but also the TU Munich, TU Delft, and all kinds of structural engineers and consultants. And they all confirmed our ideas, and it's worked out now. So we have all the certificates and all the stamps to build it, and we're very happy that we could do this, of course. We just sold the last free market apartments with a nice booklet, and the paper is made with seeds you can sow and plants will grow out. It's more or less, and what's very important, because there are a lot of cities now densifying, we think that you have to give presence to the city, give a gift to the people, because people like these buildings, people have must have those buildings actually in the city. So we want to make more of these buildings, and we do it all together. We are team workers. We do it with our team, my architects, but also with the other partners and also the community of municipality of Rotterdam, we could make this happen. It's more or less the idea. We've got a small film which I can share. I don't know if you can see it. You can see this film. The SAWA film. Because some time, it takes several seconds. We go up. It's a gallery, outside gallery building. We like galleries, people can meet each other and see each other. We go to the west side now, and terraces come up.
You're not
Can
sharing,
you see? Oh,
Robert.
oh, right. Oh, terrible. Okay, I'll cut the video. Okay, no video. How to share? I don't know how to share it. Oh, I have to stop sharing my presentation and then share the share screen.
And then the button share sound and optimize for clip at the bottom.
Nee, gaat niet lukken. Gaat niet lukken.
Zal ik het even doen?
Ja, doe jij maar. Sorry for this inconvenience.
Can you see the screen, Robert?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right. You'll go up. There's one staircase made of concrete. That's the only concrete there is, actually. And then you go out and you walk through the outside gallery to your apartment. To the west side is the north side, actually. And then you see the terraces coming up with the view to the water. This is the view to the Maas River around. And actually, we made a bit less building. So it will, the terraces, we could make terraces. That was possible in the zoning laws. This is the view, more or less. This is it.
Peter, I wonder if you'd like to start with this one.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by two things. One is that in the UK, you have to clad CLT buildings because of the Grenfell fire thing. I guess that in Rotterdam you don't. Is that right? The actual external surface would be wood.
We are cladding this building with wood, and the wood has the fire class B.
The other observation I have quite different, which is about the terrace. I know the terrace is a very large piece of the project, but it seemed to me that you weren't quite sure whether you wanted to have a planted terrace or a kind of, there's sort of sporadic planting, but it's not sure what it wants to be. It seems to me that the terrace is trying to be two things, but not pulling off either. There are never very large pieces of usable space, and they're never very large, continuous pieces of vegetation. I wonder why you made it a kind of pattern. A little bit of both.
I'm not sure I understood your question well, but the terraces are quite a lot of space, outdoor space, but also that makes also possibilities for the planters. And the planters are owned by the building organization or the building owners organization, and they are there's a installation to water the plants, automatic installation, and 2 times a year a professional comes to make these plants, to cut them and to give them extra nutrition and those things. So it's part of the building, it's not part of the people. And people can, of course, put plants for themselves on the terraces, but not in the planters. But there's enough space to do this. And everybody has a nice outside space, actually. That's the idea. And if you want to join people, you can go to the deck and talk with people. About the cladding is made of wood, that's true. And in Holland, we can use wood as a cladding, and it is the fire class B, I suppose.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's been modified. It's modified wood, and it's possible. And we made for the facade. We made how you call it, platje. We made stops for the Grenfell fire stops in the facade.
To make compartments that the fire cannot grow towards the whole building.
Thank you. Remco, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, because the connection was not very good, so we hope we understand your question well.
well.
I want to move on. Anka, would you like to ask something?
No, I don't really have a question, Maria.
Mariana, would you?
I didn't really understand the reason of the low building to the right. Why do you have this escalating movement and then a low rise? I don't know, I thought perhaps everything could be cascading down, or why did you choose to have those contrasting forms?
Building laws. The zoning laws were there to make this part, I hope you can see it, or this the lower part was already given in zoning laws, and the height of this building, 50 meters, was also given in zoning laws. Only the zoning laws said also you could make the slab longer, so no terraces, and that's we said we make a little bit less, the half of it, so we can make terraces, but also the view of the people of other buildings can still be established. But meanwhile, all the other heights are defined by the zoning laws, which were already there.
And it looks like it's in quite a dense part of the city. I mean, its neighbours are quite large buildings. That's correct?
Yeah, it's not really in a city building, but it's a dense area. It's a city area, metropolitan area towards the river. But and that is the problem. You can see a lot of buildings which are made of stone and a lot of heat stress. So we said we want to make a building which can retain water, but also can give an answer to the heat stress which is there. It's a kind of industrial area. It was a former pier, so we put this green building into this stony area.
And one of the things you showed was that you had, was it 6 different fire consultants, including the ETH in Zurich, an academic institution, as well as Arabs and other well-known consultants. Is that what's experimental about this building, is how to deal with fire in a medium to high-rise residential building, or are there other aspects of experimentation here?
Yeah, this is the first time we investigated that the building with this height, 50 meters, and residential, is built with wood without concrete on the floors, so it can be demounted, and that's really spectacular because the lifespan of wood is enlarged, and that means that the containment of CO2 can stay there, and that's a very important question for this time in the world, to get the CO2 emission down, and that's the whole thing. But also the combination of the planters, the wooden structure, the shared spaces. When you say this as an architect, people say always, or the clients say, "Oh, there's stacked ambition." But here we said we're going to do all these things, and it worked out because we were our own client. That's the whole idea. That's the innovative thing of it. Those two things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's partly social housing, or partly affordable housing, and partly market housing. What sort of proportion is the split?
The split is 50%. 50% affordable rent, and we got 20% of free rent, and we got the 30% of free market apartments.
Right. And how many apartments are there in total?
109.
Right. And as you say, it's a building you can take to pieces and rebuild somewhere. Could you rebuild a completely different design, or would you have to repeat the design? What I'm asking, I suppose, about are the components standardized so they can be reused in different ways, or would they have to be used in exactly the same way?
Components, if you want to talk about components, these are the components. So you got the beam post construction, the portals, and you got the slabs of wood. Those are the components, more or less. So if you want to go back to components, you can do it this way. You can also go back to slabs and beams and posts alone. But and you can go back to material for furniture, or I don't know what kind of material. So you get different stages of reuse of these elements. And of course, you get the open building construction, so you can also join apartments. So the lifespan of the whole building and the principal barrier construction, loading construction can remain longer than a strict concrete construction, for example.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm afraid we've run out of time. We'll take a short break now, and then we'll come back to look at the future project infrastructure winning project, and that will be in about 5 minutes. So thank you very much, and see you in a moment.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.